Yeah, I think, the fact that World War I happened and, because of the Versailles Treaty, basically not bringing a platform from which peace could develop, leading immediately to World War II. I think, it's really a very important moment to reflect on that and move away from the present dangerous leftovers of this whole situation. Now, the Sarajevo shooting was just the trigger. All the preparations, the pitting one country against another, and all of them pitted against Germany. I mean, that was practically, a chess board which was ready. And the shooting of Sarajevo was just an accidental incident, which could have been anything else, triggering the same kind of war. I think we should learn the lesson from that, because we have not yet moved away from the war danger. I only talked about the potential of Trump, Putin, Xi Jinping, defining a new paradigm. But if you look at the actual situation, first of all, this big NATO maneuver is still going on, or maybe no, it stopped. It stopped yesterday. So, but this was a clear provocation, and General Dunford, the Joint Chief of Staff, basically said, "Oh no, we are not in a new Cold War. It's just that the United States and Russia are competitors." But there is a clear difference. I don't know what all the Western military are thinking, but I can assure you, and I think I mentioned it last week already, that people in Russia and China, and also in some reasonable places in Europe, are looking at this quite differently. That the NATO expansion to the Russian border, the fact that the US uh, anti anti-ballistic missile system has been installed already in Romania and is being built in Poland, something which Russia has responded to by developing new weapons based on new physical principles. I mean, this whole situation is very far from being stable, and there were some incidents involving, I think, Russians and US in the context of these maneuvers. And there were several retired military who basically said these kinds of exercises are completely useless. They are provocative and they don't contribute to stability. And I think we should really reflect, now in 3 days, the anniversary of the end of World War I happened, that we really understand that in the time of thermonuclear weapons, we must absolutely move to a different relations and not look at the other as a geopolitical opponent, using enormous military budgets, which really are a complete waste. We have said many times that you can easily retool all of these military industries to produce useful things. If the United States would move to retool its military industry to build fast train systems, new infrastructure, go into a crash program for thermonuclear fusion, cooperate with other nations in space research and travel. I mean, we could use all of these things, and people could even remain wealthy. Nobody is proposing to to take the profit away from people who are now stuck in military production. But we could really move all of these productive capacities into a useful situation. The United States urgently needs infrastructure. The United States urgently needs a fast train system, connecting all the major cities and naturally also the subways and the roads and other, electricity production and distribution, communication. I mean, there's so much to do. So, I know that this is going completely against the present kind of thinking, but I think, if the United States would really start to think that they could have a completely different economic policy coming from a new Bretton Woods, cooperating, in these large projects, I think it may sound like a completely far off idea, but why should we use all our resources eternally for military production, which from a standpoint of physical economy is really a waste, because it does not, or maybe it does indirectly, because it leads to new technologies, but you could develop these new technologies directly and they would be much more beneficial for the advancement of civilization. So, I know that this sounds like a very against the zeitgeist idea, but I think the United States would be much better off if they would develop their domestic economy, as Trump has said many times, make America great again, and build up modern, new civilian technologies to accomplish all of this. And I think that it needs urgently a discussion, and the 4 laws of LaRouche provide the absolute context to do exactly that.